Good evening and welcome to the March edition of Your Questions Answered. I'm Michael, KB9VBR.
And I'm the ladies' ham, Leroy Phelps. I'm Joe, KD9CJX. And I apologize, I missed last month, and we actually had a rather lovely romantic Valentine's edition going on, and I had some family emergency at the last minute. And it was going to revolve around the ladies' man. I was going to be the ladies' ham. I was going to have my dossier. I was going to try to keep it PC, but everything we scripted was probably pushing PG-13 or maybe a little R. Not like R, but R, baby. And, and we decided, it's March now, so we're way past love. Because if you made love and Valentine's Day, now you're dealing with all the repercussions. So, good evening. I'm back.
For all of you that missed Joe last month, he's back with a vengeance. Thank you, Dave, for filling in. And
I'm back with vengeance. Vengeance will be mine.
There we go.
It's not been a great 2023, guys. I mean, 2020 was. Right now, it was not looking too bad compared to how it's going over here in the old Joe household. So, but we're holding together. No one's died, at least, recently. So we're good there.
All right. Well, we got people filling up the chat this evening. If you've got a ham radio related question, be sure to drop it in the chat. We'll try to get to as many as we can.
We'd like to call it a ham radio query.
Queries, yeah.
Right. Query, yeah.
Andrew from Maryland, Mike from across the river.
Hey, Mike.
Neighbor to the west, Don.
Nice to see you again. I think I've had a pico with Don, if I remember right. On 80 meters, probably 6 months ago, I think. It's harder if I remember correctly. He's over in the St. Paul area, I think.
Yeah, the call sign looks really familiar. So it's I think I got him in the log too. So John there in VE land. Our buddy 45.
45, nice to see you.
Yeah, and we're just running through here. Hey, everybody's saying hi to 45. Buddy Dave from the south side of town. Think spring. It's March. So, they say March is in like a lion, out like a lamb, or vice versa. Well, yesterday was freezing rain and snow and sleet. So hopefully we're going to be in like a lion, and it's going to be beautiful by the end of the month. We'll see.
Or that was the lamb, and we'll have tornadoes at the end of the month.
That could happen too.
Wisconsin. You could have a blizzard one day and a tornado the next. No lies.
Buddy Chuck, yeah.
No, I think we were actually running the 100 watts on a wire net, if I remember right. Too. We talked a little bit. So double check your log on that, but I think that's where we were at.
Yeah. Eastern PA. That's I love talking to our my Pennsylvania ham buddies. So.
Agency for you folks on field day. It's Eastern PA.
Oh, what's with the purple introduction? Not very manly. Well, I don't know about that.
Hey. Well, unfortunately, the music from Michael's OnlyFans is not really appropriate here. So
you got to remember, I'm a child of the '80s, so we gotta do a little bit of that retro thing. So,
it kind of reminds me of Doogie Howser.
It does have that vibe. Yeah.
It's got a little Doogie Howser into it. There's another one I can't think of right off the top of my head, but if someone names the sitcom, I'll remember
it. All right, chat. Hive Mind, what sitcom does the opening theme remind you of? So
I mean, it could be any sitcom from the 80s. They were all pretty bad.
All right, I got a couple questions starting to float in. I got a really good one I want to start out with because let's see here. Cornbread dropped this off before we even started the show, but do you know of how to get an old school telegraph going from each shack on the same property, 1,500 feet apart? So they got power poles set up, and also don't want to use radios.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, old school. You're thinking telegraph. So
Hey, they work differently. So there's a battery and a
mhm.
coil. It wasn't a beep, there wasn't a tone, there was more of a buzz. But I
Well,
don't remember how it was set up.
let me see if I can pull this up here. Okay, I was able to do a quickie search. What you're going to be looking for is a telegraph sounder. And I got one here somewhere. I bought it off of eBay like 20 some years ago. But these telegraph systems, they run DC power. It's not very high voltage, 12 volts, 24 volts, something like that. But if you press the key on one end, that completes the circuit, and then the sounder is supposed to make the clacks on the other end. And that's what you would find in a railroad, a train station, is the telegraph operator would listen to the sounder. And the thing you got to remember is if we're doing CW over the air, we hear the dots and the dashes as the tones, but with the sounder, it's the opposite. You listen to, when it starts clacking, you got to listen to the gaps between the clacks. So, that's how it's that. I guess that's the kind of the way, in which I would look. Is let's see if I can, boy, these things used to be dirt cheap, and now I see they're like hundreds of bucks. So, but that's going to be the secret sauce you're going to need, and then you're going to need like a 12 volts power supply. I know there's plans online to kind of make a transformer, so it's to run everything. But I would think that 1,500 feet. You wouldn't need like a relay or anything like that. The voltage drop shouldn't be so bad that the sounder should work. So
that's interesting. Michael, you're on the city council. Maybe you could get some utility poles between your QTH and my QTH, and maybe we can work on something. You've been really wanting to work on the CW. I mean, this is a perfect opportunity, right?
Oh yeah, I'll have to dig my sounder out of the back room and see if I can get that thing working. I've seen plans online on how you can, create the transformer so that you get the voltage right and make the thing work. So
right. I think it'd be best if we stick around 40 meters, probably around like 7114. That'd probably be easier for you and me. But but yeah, if you can get 2 sounders and a couple keys and the power supply,
yeah,
by all means, go for it. I think that'd be pretty interesting. Let us know how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The only other thing I could think of is to do something with, sort of like with the telephone, plain old, the old landline phone kind of thing.
Right.
But that might take a little bit of. There's emulators you can get, so you can run your own like private switch network. So.
Oh,
but
man,
that's going really crazy.
In Seattle, there is I think it's called the Connections Museum.
Yes, it is.
If you check it out on YouTube, and they have old switches from like the 30s and 40s, 20s, even earlier, from the beginning of phones. And there are some really interesting videos on how all that worked. The mechanical portion of it. I mean, you got to remember, this is like a lot of the stuff is pre-computers. But a lot of it, like, it's all relays and mechanical and crazy stuff. I mean, you can go into that for hours and hours.
Oh, they got a really neat YouTube channel, and because they've got mechanical switching systems, like an entire telco switch, a crossbar,
Yes.
It's just set up. It's an old central office in Seattle that they turned into a museum. So they got working switch equipment, and you can place phone calls on it and watch the switches go crazy. And then I think they got a digital switching system too from the 1970s.
Mhm.
But the mechanical one is just like it's crazy technology. So yeah, you might want to check that out if you're ever in the Seattle area, or if you're not, just check out their YouTube channel.
Yeah, the YouTube channel itself is a rabbit hole you're gonna get stuck in for a couple of hours. I know.
I've
proof.
I've done that. It's a great channel. It's I love that kind of content. So yeah, we might have to do some digging around and see if we can kind of come up with either make that sounder work, or see if we can make an old-fashioned telephone line work or something like that. So
I know a guy that's like a mile of old telephone cable, so we can do something. Not saying it's me, just no guy, okay?
All right, so that is, yeah, we could talk about telephone switching all night long if we want.
Hey, I grew up till I was about 8 or 9 years old. We had a party line, no lies. And so I think we were 3 rings or 4 rings. I don't remember. But until I got a cell phone, I always had to like pick up and listen for a dial tone, because that's what I learned to do. You have to listen for a dial tone to make sure no one else is on the line. But until the past 15 years, I haven't had a landline. And when I first got a cell phone in the late 90s, there was no dial tone. I didn't know what to do. Like, is this working? What is send? Nowadays, and I didn't want a cell phone. Oh, it's only going to be for emergencies, Nowadays, it's like attached to my hip. So
yeah, I know. That's the crazy thing. My grandfather was on a party line until about the early 90s. They had direct dial though, but still, if you could, yeah, you'd pick up the receiver at his house, and you'd have to listen to see if anybody else was talking on the line, on the circuit. But
right, and if it was a quiet conversation, you could always hear the neighbor pick up and listen. Get off the phone. And you hear
yep, click, click, click.
Yeah. The good old days of rural Wisconsin.
Yeah, we got somebody. M9 loves the Connections Museum, and even the old telco guy learned something. So,
exactly. Could you imagine like having dial-up internet on a party line? Like if someone else picks up the phone, you lose your connection, and you're not Napster.
Downloading your MP3s.
Even downloading the new Metallica song, and you're like for 2 days, and you're 1 minute away, and someone picked up the phone down the road.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, the kids these days, yeah, they won't know the suffering we went through to
pain, something, anger,
yeah.
Fear. It was all there, just in the phone line. Oh, terrible. Let's talk about radios. That's what we're here for, right?
I got a question here. Matt dropped something in the chat. It's lost in opposite polarity, vertical or horizontal, to go away with multi-hop HF propagation, or is polarity retained after being reflected by the ionosphere? Basically, it is. Yeah, correct. It is not. In the near field, you can a polarization mismatch. You can end up with up to 20 dB of loss, but as that signal mixes, bounces through the ionosphere, then all is good. It's that you don't have that mismatch anymore in polarization. That's why, we can on one end, say we can use a vertical antenna for, DX, and the other party can use a wire antenna like a dipole, and things work just fine, making that connection between point A and point B.
I think the only exception to that would be like an NVIS antenna. Like if you got a low strung wire antenna that's specific for NVIS, then generally only NVIS style antennas are going to work in that particular situation. But that's more of a straight up and down versus really getting a skip off the ionosphere.
Correct. Yeah. When we're talking NVIS, you need your polarization pretty much needs to be the same,
Right.
horizontal to horizontal, because you're beaming the signal straight up with the intention of it coming straight down. And that does make a difference.
So, but generally, so like if you have a vertical antenna and the other station has a wire antenna, like a dipole, after the first hop, all bets are off. All right.
Yep.
But if you're close, like if you're close, I mean, really the upper bands of HF, it wouldn't matter. But like 40 and 80, you're probably running horizontal anyway as a 40 and 80, but it could make a difference there.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I've noticed, we've, a couple of years ago, we had a local group chatting on 6 meters, and I could notice, I could notice a difference between, the vertical antenna guy and the horizontal antenna guy. So it does, and now, those were stations within about 20 miles of each other, but it made a big difference.
That's definitely line of sight. The 20 miles to 6 meters is just a hop in the park. Especially on a mode like on a band like 6 meters and 2 meters, where you have both upper sideband and FM. And the standard is that FM is usually vertically polarized, and the sideband is horizontally polarized. So most DXers on those bands usually are horizontally polarized. So if you're looking at 2 meter or 6 meter sideband, you're probably going to run horizontal. Even though I would even say, even with ionics or ducting, is that ducting probably polarization doesn't matter as much.
No, it doesn't. Or sporadic, it doesn't really. Yeah.
So it doesn't. Did that answer your question?
All right. So, let's see, I got another good one here. Garrett says, have my inverter on to keep my fridge cold. He's a truck driver. Is there a good way to help cut down on the noise? Inverter noise is tough.
Lots of brute force chokes, my friend. And we're not talking like, body slams, WWE, but like a lot of chokes. Inverters are terrible for noise. The other thing too is you could try a bandpass filter. Unfortunately, bandpass filters are for one band specific, so you'd either have to swap out bandpass filters in a truck, which is asking a lot. I get it.
Yeah,
but it's something you could do.
Lots and lots. Yeah, I think lots and lots of chokes is about the only way you're going to be able to get rid of it. If you can isolate the power between your transceiver and your fridge, that will help somewhat. If they're connected, on the same loop, on the same circuit, the noise will be a lot louder. But say if you ran your radio off of an external battery that's not part of the same charging system as the inverter, that should help a little bit, but it's not going to completely eliminate the noise.
Could you? Yeah, this is real hokey. I'm just going to throw this out there. A battery as a filtering capacitor, like in parallel. I don't know. Throwing it out there, but yeah, it may just be easier to get like a 15 amp hour LiFePole battery and just run your radio off that. And then charge it at night or whenever you're at the truck stop. That's the best thing I can think of.
Yeah, I got one of those in the back of my camper. I have one of those compressor style fridges, and when it kicks on, if I'm plugged into the same battery as that fridge, I will definitely, the noise just shoots up, S5, S7. But if I can isolate the two, with a separate, separate battery, or move away from the fridge, and then the noise drops off precipitously. So
yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, you got it. It's the old song. You got to keep them separated, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, And I don't know if anybody else has got any comments here on that, but no, it doesn't look like it. So see if anybody in the chat has any other ideas, but I don't see any here. So
No, not at all there, unfortunately.
Alan says, let's see. Yeah, good evening from Tulsa. Videos have gotten me out of more than one band, and he explains, even us tech challenged can understand. So I like it. That's a great thing. So,
tech challenge guys that work microwave, okay?
More than one bind, not band, although I am a musician. So damn you, auto correct.
Gotta love the autocorrect.
Yeah.
You would think after 15 years of autocorrect, they would have fixed it, right? No.
Yeah. Of course not. Of course not. All right. So, Sam says that he's had excellent experience with diversity reception when he listened to a 10-meter FM signal on my home transceiver and a FM 10 remote base 10 miles away on a mountaintop. So it's that's when we talking about a polarization mismatch. So that's actually
you could just have almost a straight line of sight connection there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that's definitely a possibility too. I mean, if you can see the other antenna, it doesn't matter which two ways are pointed.
No, absolutely not.
It's gonna be pretty good. If you're sitting on one side of the room with a little walkie-talkie, and you got the one turn 90 degrees on the other side of the room, it ain't gonna make a lick of difference.
Mm-hmm.
But all the idiots you see on TV holding them like this, right?
Is that gangster style?
Right. It's like you hold the guns like this too, gangster style.
Yeah. I picked up a couple of questions here that I thought we could kind of go through before we get to the bottom of the hour break. But let's see. Dove to Mark says, quick question. What are your standard settings for the A, the B, and the C buttons? These in regards to the FT891 transceiver. In other words, what do you have them set to?
Michael has eject, oil slick, and smoke screen, and his.
Enhance. I like the one that when you push the button, it flips the license plate. So.
The little rear-facing rockets too. Yeah, I like that.
Of course.
Start playing Peter Gunn in the background.
Yeah. So my favorite quick access features on the FT891 would be shift, frequency shift, the notch filter, and then the channel 1 voice player. So that's where I keep my little parks on the air. CQ on
DB9 VBR, parks in the air, right?
Over and over and over again,
right? So. That's how he gets all the points, my friend.
So yeah, channel 1 and the notch filter always, those are always there. That notch is, when somebody throws a tuner at you, it's. I'm not gonna dig through menus to try to find it. I'm gonna press that button right away. But shift sometimes, I'll change something else out. Sometimes the digital noise reduction, I might put that up front, but I don't use the noise reduction very often. So I might, typically if you're out in the woods or in the field, and you got a beautiful noise floor, it's just that noise reduction just adds more distortion than it does anything else. So, but so shift. Sometimes the meter button, if you want to look at the different meters, but typically I just have my meter set to SWR. So frequency shift. I like that one. Being able to push that one and then move your passband a little bit to the side in order to.
Right. Now, your 891 doesn't have the tune button. You don't use the tune button on it. You actually use the manual button on the LDG tuner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah,
and
they
and
have
yeah.
the 8S120 or the 8S100 antenna, you can actually put tune on one of those buttons.
Yes. And then you might, if you're running the ATAS and antenna, you'd probably want tune front and center to
Yeah.
get that
In fact, I think you
antenna.
can even get an up and down tune on that, if I remember right.
Yep.
So 45 Auto remembers Spy Hunter. What platform did you play it on? I played it on Commodore 64. I want to know what you got it on.
Stand-up arcade game.
Oh, bunch of quarters. Oh, we spent more money at the arcade than you did on the Commodore 64.
Probably. I was never good at that game. I don't for some reason it just.
Oh, those were never good games, but I love them. That's where my love of Henry Mancini started too. So.
Oh, the Spy Hunter theme. I saw we get MeTV over the air here, and their binge of the week is Peter Gunn.
Oh, so. yes. Now I need a TV antenna.
So now you can hear the Spy Hunter theme all weekend long.
Yes. Oh,
oh no, Joe lost you.
You lost me. I'll be back. Hold on.
Oh, why are we solo? We don't want. Okay, we got a little technical difficulty with Joe here, so I'm just gonna go full screen for a moment and. Yeah, 45 ran a stand-up arcade also. It's I think we're the same age. While Joe is rebooting here, I just want to kind of remind everybody that we're kind of at the bottom of the hour, and there's a lot of things. It takes a lot of things to kind of keep this show on the road here, time and energy, and also other types of assistance. And the people that gives us the most assistance are our patrons over at patreon.com. And I just want to acknowledge all of our new patrons for the month, for this last month. On the supporter level, Todd DeBasie, and Brandon Boyd, and our friend level, Conrad Aquino, Darren, and Dale Henniger. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for being a patron. And then also our producers, the highest level of support, help us really keep the show going, the wheels turning on this bus. Dave White, Brian Liebig, Chuck Diogid, Rand Gray, Joe Marhain, and Lyle. So thank you so much for your continued support. It's greatly appreciated. You too can help support the mission to educate and inspire. That's over at patreon.com/KB9VBR antennas. And now a quick word from our sponsor. KB9 VBR antennas are simple, effective, and affordable VHF and UHF antennas for amateur radio, MERS, public safety, and GMRS. Made in the USA with quality parts. Get yours online at jpole-antenna.com. And I was going to bring Joe back in, and then all of a sudden he disappeared again. Oh, no. Joe's got a new camera and microphone set up, and we still don't have all of the bugs worked out on it. So we were afraid this was going to happen mid-show. We'd have a little disaster, but hopefully he'll come back real quick now. Okay, we're going to get back to the questions, and okay. Don asks, I'm learning CW and want to know, I know you have videos for setting up the FT891 for CW. Is it easy to change from sideband to CW and back? For the most part, it is. One of the nice things about the 891 is it's got what they call stacking registers. So typically, if you switch over to the CW mode and you make your adjustments for, say, like the width and things like that, they will stick to CW, and then when you change over to sideband, you'll be back to your sideband settings, so you don't have to, if you were jumping between those modes, you don't have to kind of, switch from, you don't have to totally reset all of those features. A lot of those will stick as you switch from those modes. So hopefully that's helpful to you. I don't have as much of the videos on the CW stuff as I do on the sideband. I know it's Dave White's always been bugging me to get the CW thing going, and he's been riding me pretty hard on to get those to increase my proficiency. So hopefully we'll get that going. M9 asks, are you still using that Bearcat 210? It looks like it's on. You know what? I had it on, and then I come downstairs today. It was today. I was getting set up, and I say, I hear this really weird hum in the background. What is it? And I'm turned off the power switch, and the hum disappeared. And then I figured out, well, it's that dang scanner. It was running in the background, but now I think one of the capacitors is starting to go bad in it because I can't get rid of the hum at all. So that might be turned off for the time being until we can figure out, it's probably going to need to be recapped or something like that. I like that. That was a nice little 10-channel scanner. I put all the ham. I used to have public safety in it, but then when everybody went to digital, then it got a lot less use, and I pulled it out. It's a nice decoration. I can still put the ham repeaters on it, and every once in a while it'll come to life. But it's otherwise it's just a little bit of a decoration there on the shelf until we can get her going. So I think Joe is trying to come back into the stream. But I see it. I don't think it's Joe. Are you there?
I'm here.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but we got black screen. So.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love this. This is a fun time. Hold on here. Go to settings. Oh, that's different.
Oh,
no, that's not any better.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, how's it looking? Are we there? It's a little choppy at my end.
We got some frame shutter, so it's like your max your max headroom today. So
it's a choice of the new generation. Wait, no, that was Pepsi, wasn't it?
I think he's shilled for Coke.
I don't know. The only max headroom I remember was in Chicago, boys and girls. If you remember what I'm talking about.
Oh, the max headroom hack.
The max headroom incidents. That was probably the last real good interception in pirate television. That's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say on that. I was not a part of it. I was like 7 at the time, so you can't blame me. Anyways, we're back. Let's get back to what we were talking about.
Okay. Well, while you were gone, I just went through the promotion, and then I talked about you're freezing. You are max headroom, and a little bit about somebody had a CW question. So 45 follows up. Okay. I recently joined Long Island CW Club to learn Morse code. Head copy is a challenge. I think it's I got a membership to Long Island CW, and it's I joined last year with every intention of improving my proficiency, and then everything just kind of went to the wayside. I got to get back at it. I really do. It is certainly a high item on my bucket list. So, Joe's catatonic. There you go.
You and I were going to yeah. Am I here? Where did I go?
You're free. You're freezing like crazy. So, yeah.
I know. So this is what happens when you go and spend $600 on a new camera, interface, and everything else, boys and girls. This is really what happens. I should just go back to my cell phone. That worked better. Let me try something else here. Let me change the. Why don't I just go straight to the GoPro?
Oh
no,
See, no, it's well, you are.
That's not working.
Oh, why does it always want to solo you? Oh, there we go.
Well, because I'm the only one who looks good here, Michael, even in the choppy view. This is a little better. Well, let's see what. Oh, see, I just locked up, boys and girls. Look at that.
And then you freeze.
So
you
I'm gonna
go for about 10 seconds, and then you freeze. So
right. So now I'm here. So this is as good as it's gonna get. All right. You might
oh man,
just catch me a freeze frame. We do it. Wow, get screenshot.
Oh,
You know what really grinds my gears? It's under interfaces, boy and girls. Yeah.
So, all right.
One of them days today.
Yeah.
Anyway, just back to the show.
We got a question here from Utah, must be Utah Grouse Hunter. During your POTA activations, you use the Wolf River coils. You seem to prefer the Chameleon 17-foot whip versus the 213, 2 or 78-inch whips. Just curious to why you prefer the Chameleon. I've got both the Chameleon 17-foot, and I have the and Wolf River actually provided me with one of their 213-inch whips, and I like that the Chameleon is certainly a more robust whip than the Wolf River is. The difference between the two, though, is that the Chameleon, 17-foot is 203 inches, 204 inches, and the Wolf River whip is 213 inches. And if you use their Sporty 40 coil, the fully extended, that 213-inch whip gives you the perfect match. But you're 9 inches short with the Chameleons. So for the last couple of activations, I've been using the Wolf River whip, and going back and forth between the two. The Chameleon is definitely a more robust whip of the two. It's all stainless steel. It just, the sections feel nicer, I guess, is the easiest way to kind of explain it. But yeah, that's the reason why I go with that Chameleon whip.
Right. Yeah, I think you got to have more length is better, especially with the Sporty 40. And like you said, the definitely the Wolf River one is the right length. It's made for it, but
yep,
Chameleon does have some better construction to them. Chameleon could put like half a more section on one. I think they're probably
yeah, but then again, their whips are designed for their transformers, but I don't think it would make that much of a difference if it was 17 foot or 17 foot 9 inches. Huh, who knows? So what I did was with my Chameleon is I just took an alligator clip and 9 inches of wire and just stuck it on the end, and then that
perfect.
And then that approximates the other whip.
Or just get 213 inches of wire.
Oh, there we go. You could do that too.
Hang that in a tree.
Hang that in a tree. Well, that's another, yeah. Oh, since we've been talking stubby between the two of you.
It's like I really haven't even been drinking. I just like one eye. Oh. I don't know what's going on here. It's been rough. Like I'm on about 4 hours of sleep today, guys. So we're having fun.
This is between the two of you. Which would you say is the most efficient learning tool for the CW alphabet? That I know Long Island CW Club teaches the Coax method, KOCH, and they find that to be that works really well. In the order in which that the Coax method presents the letters to you. So, then there's some programs out there that can help you learn that way, or if you join if you join the club, then they give you a Windows application that'll give you those letters too. So
right, and so there's the Coax method, and then there's a Farnsworth method. Farnsworth is a little different, is that it'll start you at 15 words a minute individual. Look at that. There it goes again. What
You
is
might have
this?
to come back to the phone or something.
Yeah, well, by the time I get the phone going here, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stand by. Try it again.
Okay. So. Oh, jeez, Louise. Well, we know what's going to grind Joe's gears today. That's for sure. So, I got another. Let's see. I think we got another question here. Jeremy asks, "Will you do a video on how you brought your coax into the house?" And I certainly will. I was just talking to Joe about that pre-show, and I think what we're going to do is when the snow disappears, then we can get out behind the house, kind of show you what he's doing to bring his feed lines in. I'll show you what I'm doing. What I put on my house is I took a electrical conduit, a weatherhead, and it gives you it drilled a hole into the sill, the foundation. So the sill that sits on top of the foundation. So a nice big hole to bring that coax in. So that's kind of my my method. And I think Joe does something similar, but a little bit different. He's got a stainless box that he uses. So when it gets a little warmer and our snow is gone, we'll do a complete video on that. Let's see. And all right, got a couple more questions here. The VA2 KFU says, I'm a new ham and I want to make a dipole. What do I do with the coax I want to connect to the dipole wire? Is a shield important, or just strip the cable and split the center wire in two? Great question. And it doesn't, when you think of a dipole antenna, you've got, the two sections, the two legs, and each leg is the same, is equidistant. They're the same length. So it doesn't matter which side you put the center conductor to and which side you put the braid to. It's so if you wanted to do a quick and dirty dipole, you could certainly spread out your wire and then just strip some coax and solder one side to one end and one side to the other end, and that would work fine. I thought I don't have a connector here, but what I did when I've made some quick and dirty dipole antennas is I've taken just like an SO239 or a chassis connector, mounted it to a piece of plastic or plexiglass, and then you can take your coax that's got the UHF connector, the PL on it, put one end on one, and screw that in, and then on the back side you can solder your wires to the back side of the chassis connector for to make a quick and easy dipole connector. If you look online, I've got a video on I did it last December on getting on the air with the 10-meter band, and I did a really nice, super easy construction project on how to make a center connector for a dipole antenna. So VA2 at KFU, go check that out. If you want to make a dipole, that'll kind of give you, hopefully that'll give you some insights on what you need to do that dipole antenna. And we got Joe again. So
look at that. Sometimes old technology is great. A little,
all
little
right.
cloudy there. Let's see if we can make this a little better. I'm going to unplug things and plug things in. Oh, whoa, hey.
Okay, whoa, there we go. Back in
Really
Big Head.
good-looking guy on the screen there, right, guys? Yeah. He's shaved tonight. He's ready for fun. Ready for a good time. Let's get a little light. Maybe if I could just that's gonna mess things up, I bet. I'm messing things up. I'm really messing things up. Oh my god.
Oh. We watched the movie Wayne's World last week, and it's like extreme close up. So.
Extreme close up. Hey, look at this. Now, if I can find the button, it's going to get real bright here, guys. Whoa.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Dim that down a little bit. There we go. It's a little better. We're going to just go with this. We just got to get through the next 20 minutes, guys. Just bear with us here. This is live entertainment.
This is
You don't pay big
this,
money for this in a theater. But
this
we're
is
not
entertainment the way this is the way they used to make it, live and without a net. So
Oh yeah, this is like David Lee Roth right here, just with live without a net. I tell you, this is just the thing. Anyways, but we're back on, and I appreciate your patience. We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. I've had to say that before.
I need to get one of those TV broadcast cards.
What's the ones with the Indian and the test pattern?
The test
You got to get the old test pattern. So when I drop out, it just puts that up.
They got the old. You see the old ones, with the technical difficulty ones, with the pedestal camera, and there's an engineer pulling tubes out of it. And...
Exactly. That'll work perfect.
Yeah, I'll have to find one of those. Oh, Gumby's got a question. Got a Chameleon lefts. That's a lightweight end-fed system. I'm looking to use it at home, but I really have access to as a metal flagpole. Will it interfere with the antenna, or should I get a fiberglass mast?
I think it's like if you have a flagpole and it's on the rope, then you should be isolated from the flagpole itself. I think that'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. I did that. I was last spring. I activated a park down in Chicago. Chicago. It was down in we were almost in the south side, but not quite.
That's risking it.
It was definitely an industrial park. Do you know where the Carroll Stream, where the big UPS hub is? Yeah.
No, I stay away from Chicago with everything in my body.
But the park is ham friendly, and they said, yeah, if you want to put up an antenna, use the flagpole over there. So I actually used the Chameleon end-fed half wave, put it on the hook, and then took it up the flagpole, and it worked fine. I didn't have any problems with it. So that would definitely be an acceptable option.
I think I'm getting a flagpole this summer, guys.
There you go. So, okay.
And 45 Audio says the video quality is better. Thanks, Samsung.
Better than the GoPro.
I guess. I don't know. Well, it's the GoPro, but it's got to run through an interface to get on the computer with this audio and everything. And I think it's the interface that keeps crashing, because the GoPro is still working. It's the interface that seems to be, pooping the bed.
Yeah, that's where the big hang up
really
is.
drives my gears. It's this tonight.
All right.
M9Ovich is donating a backhoe and we can bury it. I don't know, man. My wife saw the charge on the account. It was like, I don't think I can go bury this yet.
Well, now you're starting to pixelate. It must be your internet connection or something. So
who knows? It's thanks Spectrum.
Yeah,
but I don't think the previous issue, because it was. Oh yeah, I see now. Down here, I'm pixelating. Wow, you really
are bad.
Like 1990s video here. But on my phone, it looked great. I really do. Anyways. We talk about this. It's the interface that's crashing and burning here. So I don't know. I got a month to figure it out. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we figured out we were gonna have this running last month, but then you had your family emergency and everything got put on hold. And
it took a little bit, but we got it working. So now I don't know.
Now it's broken again.
Pour myself a cold one and go home. I'm gonna take my football and go home, guys.
There you go. Jeez Louise. Dennis, here we got another nice electric question. If I had a 100 amp hour battery, what size inverter could I get away with?
Well, there's a couple of things you got to worry about. The amp hour wise has been great. That lasts a little while longer. But the bigger issue is like how many amps can that battery provide instantaneously. So like, your light bulb batteries, things of that nature, really only about 30 amps at most. A car battery can produce a lot more cold cranking output for a very short period of time. So generally, if you're running a large inverter like a 2,000 watts, you have to crank up your voltage like 24, 48 volts. I put in a off-grid solar system a few years back that was a 24-volt DC system, but it's still, you're pulling 60, 70 amps once that 2,000 watt inverter starts going. So we were feeding it basically with a welding cable. So that's really the issue. Just a 100 amp hour battery, that'll last a little bit, but that's current draw at 100 watts or 1,000 watts at 12 volts. You're going to have a pretty serious current draw, and you're going to have problems. That battery's going to get hot. It's going to shut down. So
probably 1,000 watts max. Then I'm guessing it's
right. Yeah, 1,000 watts. I mean, even if you're running like a laptop or maybe a small radio on it, it just you gotta get your voltage up. Is really what you got to do. That brings your current down.
Yeah. If you wanted to run an inverter, anything more than 1,000 or 1,500 watts, you almost have to look at a 24 volt system in order to just
24 or even 48.
48,
you get like 6 volts, 6 volt golf cart batteries, right? And you can kind of put them in series and parallel to get them up to 48 volts to 24 volts, and they make inverters for those voltages, and that's really where long. I mean, 100 amp hour light pole 4 battery, great, it's portable, but you're not going to get much out of a 1,000 watt inverter with it.
Yeah,
Whoa,
the BMS.
we're going down. We're going down. No.
The BMS can only manage so much power through them, and if you ever watch, the YouTube channel Will Prowess, he's the one that always tears apart LifePo batteries. Some of these 100 amp hour batteries, boy, I'd be really worried about, the big current draw more than 30 amps, because once you see how those BMSs are wired in, it's really a scary sight. So that's if you're looking at
the cheap stuff from AliExpress and Amazon is really catching up to us. It really is.
Yeah, high current. Yeah, if you're looking at high current things to use that with a battery, then you're going to want to invest in a quality battery with a quality BMS.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So. Okay. We got a question here that came in the other day from Tom, and actually it was more of a statement, but last fall we were talking about non-resonant antennas with the 9-to-1 Ununs, and he says that 9-to-1 non-resonant antennas are underrated. They're easy to build, and they are very easy to build because it's just 3 wires, 8 or 9 turns, and they go together pretty simply. But he says, I've read that type 52 ferrite is better than type 43. So
I don't got a one in that game. I really don't. I've never really experimented with the 2 of them, so I wouldn't be able to say. However, the thought is that in an inductor, your core, how much magnetic energy can you put into the core, right? So if a ferrite or a toroid can put more magnetic energy, a magnetic field can be condensed into that core more, then theoretically that's a better inductor. Okay?
Yeah.
But between the 2 of them, there may not be that much of a difference, for a performance standard. You'd have to try it and see what happens. Most of the time, everything I see is a 43.
The 52 might have better saturation or be less prone to saturation than the 43. I'm not positive, but one thing I have noticed in looking at the charts, and if you go to like like Palomar Engineers, they've got all of these data sheets on all of these different ferrite materials. The 43 is a good general purpose mix for HF, between 10 and 80 meters. If you're really interested in the bottom though, like if you want to get good, a non-resonant antenna for 160 meter band, and why wouldn't you? Because a random wire non-resonant half wave for 160 meters only has to be 130 some feet long. So it's
132, 134, right around there. Yeah.
Yeah, right around there. If you're going to do that, if 160 is your game, then I would go with the 52 mix, because it had a little bit better impedance or inductance than what the 43 did. But the 43 was good, was just a good all around pick for 10 through 80 meters. So, all right. We're going to go back to power here, Joe, because you're the electric guy. If you wanted to run a 1500 watt heater off of a solar panel and battery, what would be the best formula to determine what size panel and battery to use?
Yeah, there you go again. It comes down to the batteries are generally 12 volts. So 1500 divided by 12, you're going to need a constant supply of 100 amps, more than 100 amps, really to keep that going. That's not sustainable by any battery system I know.
No.
Especially in a portable situation. So there's a couple things. 1500 watts. Even if you had a large battery bank, like we talked about, 350 amp hour 6-volt batteries in series, that gets you 24 volts. So that's really going to get you down to like 7, 8. Yeah, it's still going to be a considerable draw, like a 2000 watt inverter, because you got to realize 1500 watts. That's pretty continuous on those, but the inverters are peak at like 2000. So you're running 1500, you're really pushing it. So it's not an ideal situation. You got to get a lot of batteries, a lot of solar to keep up with it, because you're going to be eating it up real quick.
1500 watts, you're maxing out your 120 volt AC circuit with about 12, 13 amps of draw at 100.
Even at 120 volts, 1500 watts is pretty much the only thing you're going to want to put on there. Anything more, then you're going to start getting everything hot. That's where most of your fires start. Electrical fires start in houses is with heaters, because they put a 1500 watt heater on a 15 amp outlet, and they just let it run continuously. There's no chance for it to cool off. So if there's any sort of resistance in that outlet, corrosion, a loose terminal or something, it's going to heat up real quick. And that's when you get fires. So I want to say that if you're going to try to do that, it's just not going to be it's not going to have any good performance at all.
Yeah, and I don't think I would venture to say that you're going to need in the neighborhood of 2000 watts of solar, and even there, you would, with optimal light conditions, you're not going to be able to recover.
You're going to keep up in the day at best, and at night you're going to lose it all. So you'd be better off just like laying down a mirror and sitting on the mirror. That would be a more optimal solar heater than trying to do a 1500 watt heater. So
that's the problem when you have electric. I know some of these RVers, the reason why you can't heat with electricity, if you're off grid, is because it just consumes so much power. So
you'd be better off getting like a little propane Mr. Buddy heater or something like that. Those little propane ones are like, we're in Wisconsin here, so we know these things called ice shanties. These little propane heaters, so you can put out a lot of BTUs out of them, and that's not using a lick of electricity.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's see. Randy says that this spring I'm putting up a sloper long wire. What's the best length? And while I need a 1-to-1 current along with my 9-to-1 Unin, 10 through 160 I'm guessing 10 through 160 meters and not megahertz. But
You're going the wrong way of 160 megahertz, my friend. But I
yeah,
don't think you really need a 1-to-1 current. You just need a 9-to-1. Well, if you're going for a random wire, then you'd probably want like 100 and like a 54 or 49-to-1, actually, 49-to-1 Ununs, and like 132, 133 feet of wire. You can do about 74 feet of wire with a 49-to-1.
well, no. The 49-to-1 is the that'd be the resonant half wave.
Oh, that's a half wave, right? So yeah, we're
Yeah.
looking at
So
there's a chart for half wave, and then there's random wire. So we're
the
talking
random
random wire.
wire
So that's the 9 to
9-to-1, 9-to-1, we can go 74 feet for 10 through 80 meters, and then if we want to add 160 meters, we're going to have to go, 134, 135 feet.
Yeah.
Of
I still
wire.
have 132, but then again, when you get to that length, then the velocity factor gets into play a little bit more. So are we talking bare wire or insulated wire, right? There's probably a foot of difference. I would probably start at 135 feet and start shortening it a little bit, about 6 inches at a crack until you get it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah, I think that's like we said earlier, that if you're really looking for 160 meters, then 130-ish feet of wire is going to be kind of a good.
I've tried it with 74, and you really can't. You're not gonna find a spot where it tunes.
No,
even with like even with a good 10-to-1 tuner, it's just not gonna make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you'll need more wire there. Current balun, you can certainly add the current balun. It's never going to hurt. It depends, it depends on how good your counterpoise is. If you've got a good counterpoise, then maybe you don't need the current balun. But if you've got, if RF likes to come, with any of these kind of antennas that use the transformer, be it the 49-to-1 or the 9-to-1, a certain amount of RF energy is going to come back down the feed line along the outside braid. So, a choke or a current balun is definitely not gonna hurt you at all.
No, not at all. Again, not necessarily needed. You can make a dirty balun as well for that. For that energy coming back at you, but realistically, it's not necessary. I mean, I guess really, if you want to talk about it, if you're going to talk about wire, you can run 132 feet, or you can run 74 plus 74 because you want to have a counterpoise equal to what you have in the air. Right? So you actually run a little bit. If you don't run a counterpoise at 132 feet, that's still less wire than 74 on the ground and 74 in the air, I guess. But,
Yep.
Again, at that point, I think you're probably splitting hairs because you got the real estate go with it.
Woods of Bike says, I used a homebrewed end-fed approximately 130-ish foot wire for HF. So that sounds like a good number.
Yeah. The 132, 134 range is about where you're aiming, depending on the velocity factor.
Yeah. So it could be a little bit longer too. It's as long as you're not resonant on any frequency or a multiple thereof. So, since we're talking about 9-to-1s, though, what size wire for a kilowatt T240 31 mix? Oh gosh, I'd probably look at if you can get 14 gauge wire. If you can weave 14 gauge through the cores, I would probably go with that. Maybe 16.
Right. I would probably. So it's not so much the size of the wire in the air; it's the wire in the core. So the core itself and the windings have to be able to hold it. So if you're putting 1,000 watts in there, that's a fair amount of amps.
I would probably I would probably stack two T240s.
Right, two toroids together, and then big windings. That's really about the only thing you can do. I've never. I have a full legal limit. Well, I think it's a legal limit. Power end feds. but I never cracked it apart to see what they put in it. Maybe we'll have an unboxing video, guys.
Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. Yeah. Yeah. And Randy says he meant meters. So
That's right. Stupid autocorrect.
there you go. It's what it is. That's totally. Widget Bike says your description of fire sounds like backdraft situation if the fire starts in the wall, like in the movie. So,
Well, yeah. I mean, realistically, that's what happens is that the fires are not because of sparking, it's because of the heat that's generated. So,
Yeah.
you have a very low resistance between the terminals on the outlet and the prongs or the plug, right? That you don't want to have any resistance. So, when you're pulling 10 or 12 amps and you get a couple of ohms, where that resistance moves up, the heat increases dramatically. And those things are plastic, remember, so they do melt.
Yep.
They won't catch fire. That's how it happens. So, a couple of things. Remember, if you are putting an outlets in, make sure that you use a good, secure terminal. You don't have any a large amount of copper exposed. Never use to backstab terminals on outlets or a switch. Those are just asking for a problem. So. And also, don't overload a circuit. So another thing that people do is that they'll put so they'll put a 15 amp outlets in, right, on a 15 amp circuit, or they'll put multiple 15 amp outlets on a 20 amp circuit. But then sometimes they put like a 20 amp outlet on a 15 amp circuit. That's kind of, what happens is sometimes, or better yet, this is something I've actually run into in the field. They put 15 or 20 amp circuits on a 30 amp circuit, right? So now you run into a situation where you're exceeding the ampacity of the actual outlet in an overload condition, but the breaker doesn't trip, and that's where you get a fire. So when people used to go, just put a bigger fuse in, that'll be fine. Well, no, because what happens is you will start melting things, and you will start breaking things, starting a fire, and so on and so forth. So realistically, just stick with the fuses or breakers that are meant to be there.
So when it as if people tuned in last month, I was totally got my bathroom totally redone, renovated in the house here, and when they had the walls apart, and after all of the electrical and the plumbing was strung through the walls, the contractor had to go through and stuff all of the cracks and all of the holes with either insulation or caulk or something to keep air from moving up through between the levels, so that you don't have that chimney effect in the walls, from the first story to the second story. So.
Right. But the problem that you have, though, is that you still have knob and tube wiring in some places in your house. Okay. So knob and tube, we're gonna change this to the electrical channel, boys and girls. Here we go.
There we go.
This is the more you know. So knob and tube wire was a form of wiring that was used late 1800s, probably the 1940s or 1950s. Single conductors right there.
There's my knob.
That's a knob. He's talking about the thing in his hand, not the reflection in the mirror. And it was single conductor, and in itself, when constructed properly, actually is a very good wiring method. The problem is, over the years, a couple things happened. One, people put insulation in their walls, so this wire could actually handle more current on it. But when you put the insulation in, it gets hot, right? Second of all, people just teed off in all sorts of directions. They switched neutrals. They did a bunch of bad things. So when you see knob and tube in the field, just don't touch it. Don't modify it. Don't change it. Don't put insulation around it, like fiberglass insulation. Don't put that around it. Just leave it the way it is. So now your folks there, they blocked up all the vents, any sort of air pockets coming up. Now that knob and tube starts to get hot, there's no airflow out there, right? Well, you're kind of in a catch-22. Like, what happens exactly? So, if you're in a situation where the walls are off, replace it. You got
Yeah.
It was just too much. And plus,
And
you know, the Viper room, as Michael calls his bathroom now, um, he likes the extra insulation in there. You know, it
Yeah,
keeps his bum up warm when he gets up at 5 in the morning. You know,
that's right. That's right. It's nice. I could show you some pictures of the bathroom. So
no, this is a family show.
yeah, when they had the walls torn apart, they replaced all of the wiring that fed those outlets, but there was still some knob and tube for some lighting and whatnot in the kitchen, and they left that alone, and that's all. You know, the electrician, you know, he didn't mess with it, so he said it's okay if we don't change it. So
Right.
we're good. We're good. So Pat wants to know beer of the week.
No beer, man. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking San Pellegrino's Blood Orange. I guess it's a
What?
soda. Yeah. It's a
Like
blood
hard
orange soda.
soda?
No, it's not. It's non-alcoholic. But
Oh, wow, that's fancy.
yeah, I know. I feel special. We picked it up. We were in Madison a few weeks ago, and I picked this up at Trader Joe's. I can't find this anywhere. So
I'm drinking Diet Coke, boys and girls. I didn't even have a chance to get cocktails tonight, so. It's been a rough 2023, boys and girls.
Oh, when we're doing POTA, how do you keep your wife happy? Oh,
I leave
geez,
her home.
You know what? She does her thing, and I do mine. And she brings along, you know, if we're out exploring for the day and we're going to hit a park, she's totally okay with that. She'll go and check out the trails and whatnot and explore. And then she's got her weaving with her. So, you know, if she comes back to the car and I'm still doing it, you know, she's got something to keep her busy too. You've probably seen some of the videos where she's doing her little weaving thing, especially in the summertime when we're camping. And then that's even easier because we're at the campsite and there's tons of stuff to do.
No, Christine keeps herself more than occupied when you guys are out. Even if she's weaving or she's out on a mission searching around, and
Yep.
yeah, she has a good time. And every now and then, she just likes to sit down and listen to Michael play. You know, she's licensed. You know, one of these days you might actually hear her on the air.
You might. Well, we use HTs when we're backing up the trailer, so.
And you should hear the cussing.
Hey, this is a family show.
It was. Now we're pushing the R rating here pretty quick.
All right. So we're probably to that time, Joe. Is there anything?
Yeah. So, Michael, if you would please, on Messenger, I just sent you the picture. I'd like you to pull up. You can play the bite, and we're going to go from here. He doesn't even know what I'm talking about.
Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can find this on the Messenger here.
I hope I went because everything else my computer is freaking crashed tonight.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I got. Okay.
All right, play it. You know what time it is, boys and girls.
Oh, you know what time it is. It's.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Mm-hmm. Take a long draw of that Diet Coke. Here we go. Looking at you, Federal Communications Commission, and your fancy new website where you got umpteen security questions. Bring up those security questions, Michael.
All right.
Bring up those security questions.
Here we go.
Where were you when you had your first kiss?
That's awful personal, FCC.
Wow. I don't know if I want to tell you that, Mr. FCC Chairman. Who are you sharing that with? The Chinese? What is the name of the boy or girl that you had your first kiss with? I don't want to tell you if it was a boy or girl at all.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
You sure this wasn't the NSA that were security questions?
The NSA already knows it, right? Heck, it was probably an NSA agent that you kissed. Or KGB, one or the other.
one or the other. So.
Yeah, this is some interesting questions here, guys. I mean, really? Where were you when you had your first kiss?
Kiss.
Well, obviously, I wasn't playing ham radio.
Yeah.
I was looking to make a QSO, though. I'm telling you what. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
this was just a little over the edge for me today, so I figured I just wanted to share this. And you guys can do what you want, do what you please. But as Leon Phelps says, I am the ladies' man. Right?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a lady.
That is quite personal. I never get those security questions. So.
What was the name of your first dog? Okay, fine, sure. Who'd you kiss last night? Well, I don't know if I want to tell you that, FCC.
Oh. Yeah, they're making a file on you, that's for sure.
Oh, they have it. They have it. Who was the FBI guy that had the files? I can't even.
The X-Files?
No, not the X-Files. J. Edgar Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover. Oh yeah.
Right? You know, Hoover always had the files on people. So yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, because being the #1 site for doxing hams isn't enough.
Right? Some girl from middle school will be getting a phone call. Do you know Joe Schobel, KD9 CJX? Yeah. Where were you last night?
We have some questions to ask.
Do you know what a J-pole is?
The FBI doesn't have a sense of humor as far as we're aware of.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
No, they don't. Okay, what's coming up for the month of March? So, Wisconsin QSO Party is Sunday, March 12th.
There we go. Looking forward to that one. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I don't know if you've got plans, but it sounds like Dave and I have got something cooking up.
Oh, you're gonna go mobile in Wisconsin?
We're gonna do mobile, multi-mobile.
Multi-mobile?
Yeah, they got a category multi-operator, multi rig. So
like two operating simultaneously?
Yeah.
Who's driving? It ain't me. I'll leave you two at a rest stop.
Well, you can operate mobile. You can park and bark. So we're going to have to literally park
and bark,
and then bark, and then he'll drive to the next place, and I'll keep barking, and then we can set up and park and bark some more.
Okay.
So
there is a route in northern Wisconsin where you go through 5 counties in 6 miles.
Oh, geez.
I'm not Highway 17. You know where I'm talking about, Michael.
Yep.
You can pull it off. You go through the same county twice. But it's like Vilas, Lincoln, Langlade, Oneida, Lincoln. It's like 5. It's a 5 for real quick within 5 miles. So that I think some of the mobile stations use that one.
Go down 17 there.
Right,
yeah, we're gonna run 3. We're gonna actually activate 3 different parks. We found 3 parks that are within about 40 miles of each other. So
that's the thing. You got to skip the parks if you're going to do the QSO and try to win the QSO party.
Well, no, that's the park strategy. Actually, it's been productive for us. So
are you a winner, Michael? Are you really a winner? Do you get sprinkles?
We don't get sprinkles,
right? Because you're not a winner.
Well, we did. We end up. We end up in 3rd or 4th place in the Minnesota QSO party only because the other stations.
Remember, this is Minnesota. How many times have the Vikings been runner-up in the Super Bowl? Do they have a trophy? No.
But we get 80 some multipliers if we work out of a park. because we can be on 20 meters and just go crazy. We get every state. So.
Right. Yeah. If you can you have the time to set up and do it and move on, then go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're running actual mobile, you don't have really the opportunity to switch bands as much as you do. So
no. And the guys that are running mobile, actually the big point getters are doing it CW. And they've got, they'll get about 50 contacts a county and work about 15, 20 counties.
Well,
And
again,
every time
Dave knows C-dubs, so what's the problem? I don't see why you're failing here.
I don't think he can sustain a rate of 30 Qs in a half hour, though. Which is what you got.
There's a little blue pill for that. I don't know.
Which is our problem. This is definitely our problem. But so the POTA strategy works quite well for us for mobile QSO parties. We've done it successfully in Minnesota, and we're going to do it in Wisconsin, and we're gonna own the multi category, because there's only ever one or two stations that enter it. So
right, and so that's the 12th, the Sunday the 12th, like from 1 to 7.
1 to
6 or 1 to 8 in the afternoon Central Time.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, be there or be square.
That's right. It'll be fun. So I'm looking forward to it. And it's the first day of daylight savings time, so we get, an extra hour of sunlight at the end.
Right. You don't get an extra hour of sleep, though.
No, you lose an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Which is not so good.
The Indians had a good theory about daylight savings. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
I'd be okay with leaving it all year round, but
yeah, I would be too. Mm-hmm. But we don't get to make those decisions. We're not paid enough.
No, we're not. So, all right. Well, our next live stream will be coming up on Thursday, April 6th, and hopefully we'll have your technical problems figured out or something.
Yeah. Or I'll be buying another camera. I don't know about that.
Another camera. We'll get you.
I might be going Office Space on this one, though. We'll see how that goes.
PC load letter. Load letter.
So, just call me Michael Bolton. I love your music.
There you go.
What a great band.
Oh, geez. So thanks a lot, everybody. It's been fun. Hopefully we got through most of the questions. Otherwise, we'll try to follow up with them. Drop me an email or check out the website. But it's been good. It's a fun. Great to have you back in the chair there, Joe. So
back in my old form.
Back in your old form, that's for sure. So with that, I'm Michael, KB9VBR.
And I'm not Michael.
Oh, God.
I'm Joe, KB9CJX 73.
Good night. Have a great evening.
Have a good night.
Yeah.